Hi, I'm Lauren.
And I'm Christina.
And this is our podcast, Let's Chew the Fat. I'm going to do that again. Hello.
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hello.
We're back after our summer break, and today we're going to do a semester outlook because we started this new semester. It's the first semester of our third year of journalism.
Insane.
Which is crazy. And we're just going to talk about all of our classes, first impressions, all of that. We've been doing it every semester.
That's true. So you know how it goes.
It's a classic. And first, as always, we're going to do our weekly recap. So, how are you doing? How was this first week?
I was going to ask you that.
Well,
you were quicker. I feel good. And I'm really happy about that. Because today, well, for me, today's the day. How do I say this? Today, it's been a week since I came. You came on Monday or Tuesday?
Monday.
Last week. Monday. So it's been a little over a week for you. And like I said, I'm really happy about how I feel because every time I came here for every semester, I got into this very bad, heavy, deep mood. And it was hard for me to adjust and to settle in again to this new kind of new environment, different environment than back home. And this was the first time I came and I was even happy. Like I felt like I was on this high, like the very first evening, and the next day I was just like, let's go do everything. And I was kind of waiting for a crash, you know? I was like, when is something bad gonna happen, or not bad gonna happen, but when am I gonna feel something?
That's true. You kept saying I feel fine now, but I'm worrying I'm not gonna be fine tomorrow.
Yeah, because I'm kind of a superstitious person too. So I don't want to jinx any of this, you know?
Yeah.
And it was the first time I technically didn't cry because I cried a tiny little bit.
But that doesn't count.
Exactly, because I haven't left yet. But before I left, I was saying goodbye to my dad and his girlfriend. And I was doing it very quick. I was just like, I have to go because my friend came to pick me up to take me to the airport. And when I was saying goodbye to my dad, I was tearing up a little bit because it was just, emotional stuff again.
Of course, it's goodbyes.
And also I think this was the actual first time I realized I'm leaving because the whole day, if you saw the video on Instagram, I was attempting to check off all my to-do list. So I didn't have time to think about it really. And then I was leaving, taking my stuff, going to the car, and that was a little bit emotional. But I didn't even have a full-on cry, Mm-hmm. I teared up a little bit, and then I was fine. And I didn't cry on the plane. I didn't cry at the airport. None of the two. And I didn't cry when I came into the apartment, which usually these are all the places where I cry, So I want to say I'm honestly proud of myself for this, I guess, growth, that I've done or whatever since I started this whole journey. So, yeah. How do you feel?
Amazing. I feel good. Well, today not so much. For 4 hours, but it's fine. 4 hours from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I would like to know. But in general, I feel fine. And I had the same thing that you had where, the days before leaving for me were difficult. As they are. I'm also just super dramatic about it. We talked about it. But honestly, once I was on the airplane, I just had reached this whole, this point of acceptance where I was like, okay, we're going back. It's fine. And as soon as I landed and I was at the airport in Madrid and making my way back to Getafe, I felt like I never really left, to be honest. I don't know. I felt fine. And then the next day I had a full day of classes, and maybe that helped. Honestly, I'm not sure. I didn't do the thing where I come early, which I feel is always
you came late.
1 day late. This is huge for me. And as soon as I was back at university, as soon as I saw our friends, I was fine. So this is great. Transition is getting better, even though the days before are still hard, which makes sense. It's goodbyes and those are hard.
But even that for me wasn't as...
I felt like you were doing better, yeah.
Because I think this is the first time when I didn't make a fuss about it, I didn't even want to technically say goodbye to people, which we're going to talk about in a whole another episode. But when I was saying goodbye to my mom was dropping me off at the train station like a couple days before because we were doing some plans, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, well, but I need to park here so I can tell goodbye because I won't see you before you leave again. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize. And I was like, no, Mom, but please don't make a big deal out of this. So we just said goodbye. And I remember like at that moment, I felt a little bit like of a pinch in my heart, which is exactly why I don't want to create these moments anymore. So then after that, I think I didn't really like say necessarily goodbye to anybody, and then just to my dad when I was like actually leaving, and my friends because they went with me to the airport. But what I wanted to say is I remember because I was writing in my diary yesterday, and I remembered, you know how we said in one of the episodes that like it's getting emotionally draining to like be redoing this, you know, the transition every time, and like how our battery is like going down and down. This is so nice because I feel like it didn't happen, at least for me this time around, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the goodbyes were hard, but it was like a shorter period of time. For me, it was like 3 days maybe, as opposed to 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. And then the transition, like that being easier is worth so much. Like coming here and then just kind of being, oh, I'm back, I'm settled in, I'm good. And not like having this week of just, I don't know, emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part was, and always is for some reason, the train ride to the airport, like in Switzerland. Because that's like 1.5 hours of me just being there by myself. And I don't know. I guess I could read or something, but I don't have data in Switzerland, so I can't even distract myself with my phone. Like, I just look out of the window listening to sad music, being like, I'm my country. I'm leaving again. Like, that's always the worst part, but the rest was, I feel like a helpful thing was also I had like all of my goodbyes within like the same day, which was a hard day, but it's better than like having one goodbye a week before. Then, you know, like then you're just constantly sad and reminded of the fact that you're leaving.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think another thing that helped was that almost immediately we had plans with our friends here.
Exactly.
And that was really good because I think the next day after I arrived, we went to school. So I saw people. And then, did we do anything on Friday? I don't think so, right? I think on Sunday, we went to celebrate Paula's birthday.
Yes.
Right? But still, because I was doing some stuff that I needed to be done. And then on Sunday we had plans, so we saw people, we did stuff when we went outside. So I think that was also really good.
We knew we had those plans even before we came here, which I feel was good because then you had something like fun to look forward to already. Like you were like, oh, all of our friends are going to be together.
So you don't just sit in your room and like think about your emotions and thoughts. Yeah.
So I think that was helpful too.
I wanted to start by saying that now that we've done full week of classes, we can talk about it. But technically, we didn't do the full week. We did all of the days that we have school, but not full week. I don't know if this makes sense because we don't have school on Wednesdays and Fridays this semester. I don't even know what I was going to say.
Well, and we came late. I don't know what you were going to say either. No. We came late, so we didn't do all the classes within the first week. But now that it's Wednesday, we've officially done all the classes that there are.
Thank you. Yeah. So we are going to talk about those classes. What do we think? The first impressions, I guess. How many classes do we have?
5.
Yeah. So let's go.
Okay. So first and foremost, we have Publicidad en los medios informativos. Which is an optativa.
Which in English, what do we say it is?
Oh, like marketing in news media, maybe?
Yeah. And the optativa?
Oh.
Elective?
Elective. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you've had one class, I've had 2 classes.
But you had two different ones.
I had two different ones, yeah, because we changed the group because for some reason, Christina and I both signed up because there's like same class but two different groups, and each group has it on a different day. And for some reason, Christina and I both signed up for the one on Thursday morning, which meant that we had a Thursday class, a Thursday full of 9 hours of classes. And I don't mean 9 hours of being at the university, but like 9 hours of only class. So
I don't understand what you just did.
Well, because we'll have like the 30-minute lunch break and then 50-minute breaks and stuff. But I'm not counting that within the 30 within the
like
9
the
hours.
Clean time of actually having to pay attention in class.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's 9 hours, which is insane.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. And honestly, what makes it worse is if we have a class, because we have like the theoretical part of a class, and then we have the practical one. Why are we so bad at explaining this? So each of those are an hour and a half. And I think like in the first and second year, we had it completely like one day we would have the theoretical, completely another day we would have the practical one. But now they've really started like putting it together. So you have 3 hours of the same class back to back. And that's really difficult for
us.
Yeah. For like being able to focus all the time and not like get bored even,
or just
I guess.
Drained.
Yeah.
And neither of us knew why we chose like that group, like why we did it.
But I think we figured out that the university did something.
Yeah, because we did it, and then other people from our class actually also did it, and then they were like, wait, why
because
we
didn't explain the issue. The issue is that now the class has 2 groups. One has class on Monday and the other one on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, which is the one we chose initially.
Yeah, we chose the Tuesday one initially, which is an issue because we already have a lot of classes that day. And on Monday, we only have one other class. So we were thinking, why didn't we put this class on Monday if it worked with our schedule and the week would be more balanced out?
Yeah, and it fit perfectly. Like there wasn't even like time in between those classes. Like I don't know what we did.
But maybe the university initially said that the second group is going to be something
on Wednesday. I think it was on Wednesday. Which I remember choosing in between Wednesday and Thursday, being like, oh, but I want Wednesday
which we didn't
off.
want because we wanted to have Wednesday off. Yeah. So
that's why I was in 2 different classes.
Exactly. The first week you went to the Tuesday one, then you figured out that you can go on Monday. So then we switched to Monday.
Yeah. But first impressions, I think it's an interesting class. It's basically just the basics of marketing, like target audience, like how do I reach them? How do I share my message? That kind of stuff. But I guess specifically focused on news media. Like it's not going to be about social media marketing.
Yeah, she specifically
like that. She mentioned that a couple of times,
which I find a little bit sad.
Yes,
personally,
we're just gonna put that out there. But still, it's interesting, and it's a different type of marketing that I'm used to with my job, which I feel like is interesting too. And I mean, we are studying journalism, so I guess it makes sense for us to know like how a lot of news media make their money. Like that's a huge part of their income. And I like it so far. It's very structured. The teacher's very structured. I understand it's in Spanish, and I understand her Spanish. The practicas so far seem doable, like not too time-consuming and challenging. She wants us to do different groups every single time,
which is a bit uncomfortable for us, but we'll get used to it. It's fine.
We'll
meet new people.
Yeah, yay. What about you? Anything to add?
No, I think this will be a really interesting class because I feel like what is like the thing with me is that I feel like I never learned marketing in like any class or any, like theoretically. I think I learned it, some of it practically because of social media and this whole like digital world. And so now I think it will be really good for me to learn about it from more like a theoretical angle. Plus it's more focused on media, like printed or like news media, not as much social media. So I think it will be interesting.
I think it's good to know about marketing because it's everywhere.
For sure. So hopefully nothing goes wrong. We'll see how with time the assignments, what they will look like, because the first one is quite easy, I would say. I'm not really exactly sure what I'm supposed to say exactly, but I'm doing just something.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that works next week, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then also on Mondays, we have a class called, I think, Organization of Media Enterprises, right?
I think so, yeah.
Name? Okay. And that, I feel like, might maybe be my least favorite class of this semester. I mean, we'll see. But I don't even know how to explain it. It's just very much about how businesses are set up with, like, the final project is going to be creating a business plan. So it's just about the very, like, basics of a business, how they represent themselves outwardly, like with their mission, with their values, that kind of stuff, and analyzing that.
For me, honestly, the first class I had this week was interesting, or like I wasn't thinking like, oh, I don't like this. Ooh, why are we talking about this? But I think what my issue is, like, I don't really know yet what exactly the class is going to be about, because I know we're going to learn about how a media organization or company is set up, but so far, I feel like, we mentioned HR and like the art creating people designers and finance. Why can't I figure out this word?
Finance department?
Yes, department. But then I'm like, what else are we going to talk about? So I don't know yet, but I'm not like throwing it in a dirt bag yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems very, I don't know how to explain it. Just a little bit boring. Like, we know mission statements exist. We know what they're trying. I don't know.
But it was fun to look at. I feel like, and the first assignment we had, we looked into Spotify, which we use every day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I guess so.
But we'll see. I
guess so. I'm just tired of making business plans for businesses that are not going to exist. Maybe it's also because I had that in my apprenticeship. And like,
yeah, I feel like that's the thing with you, like with this semester's classes, a lot of it you already either like know or you have experience with, either from your work or wherever else, Whereas for me, I feel like I have this like first contact.
I guess so.
Maybe, hands-on with this.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes. But I like the teacher.
Yeah.
So that
I was going to say about all of the classes that I think we like all the teachers, right?
Yeah, honestly.
Which is so
really
nice.
Good teachers, I think.
I think. Exactly. It's the first week. We don't want to jinx anything. But so far, all the teachers look nice. I don't think they have an issue with English.
No.
I don't know about the class we just talked about. Like, her English is not perfect, but so far she
can explain herself.
Yeah, exactly. But then the next class, I hope it's the one I want to talk about now.
I was like, this is so much pressure. Investigative reporting.
Yes. Okay, here we go. So I love, for the first time, we have a teacher who can speak perfect English.
Like, I was confused about if he was Spanish. That's the level of English we're talking about.
Some words he pronounces like weird or just differently, but he speaks perfect. And he also brings like this whole headset with a microphone into the class so we can hear him properly, which I appreciate. And I wish all Spanish teachers would do that, or like classes we have in Spanish, because sometimes I just have issue that I can't hear them, or because of the bigger class, what is it called? There's an echo or something, and then I can't understand properly. So
nice. We've been talking about that a lot, how either like if the acoustics are not good, I mean that sounds like I'm talking about a concert venue, but
no, but I was gonna use that word
if they're speaking maybe quieter, or if the room's just really big, or if their English maybe isn't that great, or if their Spanish is quite difficult to understand, like if they mumble or anything like that, how much that impacts how long you can like sit there and consume information for, and like concentrate and like not drift off. So in that sense, him having, first of all, like a great English, and second of all, like having the headset is amazing, because it helps, like it's so much less work. Yeah. Like trying to keep up and listen.
For sure.
So
and the class itself.
Also is quite interesting. I mean, it's investigative reporting, which I've always found interesting. I don't know if I necessarily want to do it because it sounds a bit scary.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get kicked out of a country or anything like that.
I think you have to have a certain personality.
Yeah.
Or at least not fake one, but like build it so then you can do it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think you can be really fragile.
That I can do it, but I am fragile. So I don't think I can do it. Maybe on like a low, like a, you know, not like
discovering politicians' affair.
Exactly. Maybe like, oh, this university is doing something wrong. But very interesting, I feel like, to learn about that whole part of journalism.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it's going to be interesting, especially because in the Czech Republic, there is like one, I don't think it's a TV channel. I think they post it on their website. Honestly, I'm not sure. But they focus on investigative journalism, and they became, I think, really famous when there was the whole thing with our ex-prime minister. And they started like really investigating him and like uncovering some issues. Why did I start saying this? Oh,
because you find it interesting.
I do find it interesting. But no, I think it's going to be cool to like maybe learn what's behind all of that.
Exactly. Because I've always been like, I mean, incredible that they figure out this, you know, information, but how on earth? Like, I can't even fathom like the work behind all of that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And an important branch of journalism. And then with the same teacher, actually, which is amazing because he's great. Otherwise,
do you know how much luck, I guess, we have with having him for 2 classes?
Exactly. I mean, which is
regretted at the end of the semester.
But that class is called feature writing.
Well, the titles are a bit confusing. I still haven't understood what happened there.
The thing is, in the first class, which you missed, he spent a solid like 40 minutes explaining it. So I think that's why you're having trouble catching it.
But I think it has some issue with like what it's called in Spanish, what it is in English, and what it actually is, right?
In Spanish, it has a name, which makes sense. Or at least more sense than the English names. Then they translated it into something that makes absolutely no sense. Especially because the one class now has the same word in it that it has in English
in the other
class.
Okay.
So it's just a mess. Also, one is called newspaper reporting. We've already had newspaper reporting. So, but he said, like, it doesn't make any sense. Nobody thinks it makes sense. But it's like, in terms of bureaucracy, really, really, really difficult to change the class.
Oh.
Yeah, he says like 500, like the Pope has to sign it, basically, is what he said.
Gosh.
So that's why they're keeping it like that. But he like changed the name for himself. But now on our platform, like on Aula Global, it's very confusing still.
Yeah. But I guess we'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And so the second class, which is called, that's the newspaper
writing.
That's what he calls it, though, right? Okay. Well, it's going to be about features, which I think in general will mean that we will write just more creatively. We will write in general. That was his like big point. But I think he said to us that we're going to do less like news feature, and we are going to do, what's the other one called? Whatever feature? I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, because, you know, we had we had the worksheet on it, no? That one of the
But I don't
articles,
think it was news feature. I think it was like news article writing and then feature writing.
I can't remember. But it's just going to be a lot of writing. And I think more creative, we will have more of a free hand, I guess, which I'm super excited about.
Same. Yeah, because I mean, the news writing class that we had before was basically just stating the facts. And the most important thing was to like communicate it in a clear way. It wasn't really about like making it sound nice or like, you know, less descriptive, I guess. So this class I'm very excited for. And the assignments sound fun too. Yeah. I can't remember much. I think we have a book essay.
Personal something story.
Yeah, true.
And then there was one more.
Yeah. But they sound fun and they sound creative, you know? So that's good. And then we have, one other class, but we have different classes. So I have one called, short Comunicación Multimedial. And then something else that I don't know. But basically it's about multimedia communications. So I don't know how to explain it. It's literally about everything. It's about, we're going to do video editing. We're going to do graphic design. We're going to do Photoshop. Yes. Christina's regretting not taking this class.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you have that tomorrow?
Thursday, when you have your other one.
Why did I not choose that class? I think I didn't look into what it is, and I think the name of the class just scared me or something.
Multimedia Communication? How can that scare you?
I don't know. I don't remember even.
Or maybe you're consolidating it abroad? No. Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever.
I can still take it next year.
Yeah.
That one. Well, no, I can't. Can I?
You can.
I don't know. Because I'll have too many credits somehow. I think I will.
Oh, what a struggle.
I mean, I hope. Again, I don't want to jinx it. But then I will take only one optativa next year, I think.
I mean, you can take that one.
I can. I think I can decide. Can I? I don't remember.
She'll figure it out. She will let you know when she has. But yeah, so it's just about all of that. I feel like we're just going to look into the basics of all of this. A little bit of coding, HTML, CSS type of situation. No, but the basics, like basics. Okay. We're not even going to do JavaScript or any. That's what I was worried about. Like he starts talking about JavaScript.
That's true.
I cannot do JavaScript. I really cannot.
You know what it reminds me of? The freaking economics we had. Or statistics. One of these would always have some kind of exercise with this. Remember?
With JavaScript?
Yeah. There would be JavaScript or something else like coding thing.
Oh, that's true.
Was it economics? I think it was economics.
It might have been economics, right? Yeah.
So it reminds me of that trauma.
Yeah. Well, I had JavaScript in my apprenticeship, and I
think you had everything in your apprenticeship. You always mentioned that you were like, I had this, I had this, I had this, I had this.
It was intense. And the JavaScript I do not understand at all. Like I was trying to come up with some video game and I could not do it. So I'm glad we're not doing that, but HTML, CSS. So just basics of all of it basically, which sounds fun. And I think it's going to be a lot of practical work because he said even the theoretical class is in the lab, like with the computers. And he said, so we're not going to do a lot of theory. Like some days maybe we might just do the 3 hours, like just working on our project. So yeah, that's it. What are you doing?
I have buenas prácticas.
Periodísticas?
Yes, thank you. Which is basically just good practices in journalism.
Yes.
You know, the first day, last week, the teacher asked us, like, why did you choose this class?
They always do this.
I hate that question. I mean, I understand why they ask it. I feel like if I would be a teacher, I would ask that too.
At least in the optativas, what I don't understand is when they do them in the mandatory classes.
Yeah.
Why do you think I didn't choose this class? Because I want my degree.
Yeah. I think I said that it will be interesting for me to kind of maybe compare what I learned in my, what is it called? Internship over the summer and then compare with the kind of like theory of the class.
That's a good answer.
Right, thank you. I made that up on the spot. But I think it will be, honestly. Yeah. That's not why I choose it. I think I chose it. I don't even know why. It's fine. It is true. And the teacher seems fine. He speaks pretty fast. And there I had the issue with like the acoustics because there weren't even many people. We were like, I think 5 people when the class started. And then a few more came a little bit later. So I think we're going to be like 7 or 8 people.
Yeah.
Which is very little. But I think it might be a positive thing.
I don't hate it usually, the small classes.
Because the teacher can like focus on us.
Yeah.
And I talked to him. Oh, I remember. He's very talkative. I went to talk to him. You know, the usual is how we come, we are not Spanish. So
we literally have it memorized.
And I couldn't even get past the point where I said Spanish. Where I'm from. I don't even remember. Because he asked me something. I think I came to him. I was like, so I'm not from here. And then he interrupted me. He was like, where are you from? I said, the Czech Republic. He wrote it down. And then he started speaking. I didn't even get to my point. And then after like the 10-minute talk, I think somehow in the meantime, I tried to, you know, partial, like, by small parts to like put it in there. And then the end was like, so what do you need? And I was like, well, I just tried to tell you. But he seems nice. Funny. He said it like, you know, as mostly all the teachers, like, if we need anything,
Yeah.
if we don't understand anything, we can always come to ask, blah, blah, blah.
The thing is, I feel like all of the optativas, or at least all of them, they put in the description of the class that you have to speak like perfect Spanish, and grammar and all of that will be taken into consideration with like every assignment that you do, which is terrifying because, I mean, to get into this university, we needed a B2, right?
Yeah.
We did not need a C2. So what the hell are you doing to us?
I guess they expect that by like year 3, we improve it so much.
They don't expect it for the English classes.
That's true.
That's what makes me kind of, like, I understand
and it's
we're
weird
in
that
Spain,
they
but it's a
specifically
bilingual
mention
course.
it there.
Yeah, and they never mention it for the English classes. Yeah. And it always stresses me out, so I always go and tell them. But yeah, usually they're pretty nice about it.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's put there just because. Maybe because they have to do it. I don't know. But
even for like Erasmus students or anything, like, it's terrifying to then sign up for a class like that,
Yeah.
And then usually when you go ask the teacher, they're like, oh yeah, whatever. And I'm like, I'm just telling you because it was right there.
And I just want to make sure that they know, like, right off the bat that I'm not from there. And it doesn't need to mean that I will do something less. I just want them to know that when I write or when I don't say something perfectly, it's not because I'm stupid, but because it's not my first language, because I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like, if one person writes this who's a Spaniard and then another person with other nationality writes the same thing, but like more poorly, let's say, I feel like they could look at the both things and be like, oh, so maybe they didn't prepare enough. Maybe 100%. They didn't research enough, blah, blah, blah. But then if they know, they will know, okay, it's not because she didn't put effort in it. It's just because she doesn't have the full like package of like Spanish background or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because I mean, you can write something and it can be grammatically correct, but it'll still be like formulated less like nicely. And so it'll sound more stupid, quote unquote. So I just want them to know, like, it gives me a lot of comfort them knowing. Or if at some point, they ask me something and I'm like,
That's what I was going to say.
It might be super weird. They're like, oh, why is she not? This was a very straightforward question, but, maybe I just...
Exactly. So just so they know if they ask me something in class. I even told him that I might not be as, like, maybe active in the conversation in class just because I'm more shy with it or I wouldn't know how to express my idea. So it's just nice to know that they know.
And I always have to hope that maybe if you have to do, I don't know, some like on the like improv exercise, they won't like choose you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So yeah, we do that for that. And
that's it.
That's it.
I am pretty hopeful with the semesters.
That's good.
With the semester as far as the classes are concerned. Because they look like, so far, none of them, I was like, oh, this is useless. Like in the first year, even in the second year, we had some classes where we were like, this is absolutely unnecessary to have, or at least in this way, to learn about it this way. And so far, I feel like the classes this semester aren't that. So it makes me feel hopeful, even for, like exam season, because exams are always hard, but it's even harder if it's something you're not going to use. So then you're unmotivated to study and you don't understand a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. So maybe it will be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm pretty motivated for like most of the classes.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes during the semester. So far, so good. Yeah, but I would leave it updated on that note. Book Club! So, what are you reading? What have you been reading over the summer?
I did not start a single book over the summer. I did finish 2 of the 3 books that I started in May.
You started 3 books in May?
Well, yeah, because I kept starting books and being like, this is not good. And then I started a new one. I was like, this is not great either.
How sad, though.
It's a sad situation. Yeah, it is. But I finished Forever Interrupted by Ted Chiang and Sweet, which was not bad. It was not a bad book. It was the best out of the 3, I would say. But it just didn't really capture me in the way I wanted it to.
Okay.
Then I finished a book I cannot remember.
What a nice title.
That would be
I might use it in the future, you know?
Go ahead. I don't know. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. I finished the other book that I was reading back in May. And honestly, towards the end, it got better. But I don't like books that I have to force myself through 200 pages in order for the past 50 pages to be good. Like, I don't understand the whole point of that. And now I am still actively working on finishing Happy Hour. Which I've also talked a lot about on this podcast.
Actively?
Not that actively. Like 2 pages a day actively.
Yeah.
Which honestly is kind of growing on me. It's just, Christine's like, yeah, right. It's just also not captivating at all. So that's my situation with books.
Well, I have the same issue.
Right.
Remember how I think in one of the last episodes before the summer we talked about like getting the spark back and reading so much
1 hour a day every morning.
Oh my God. That's true. I wanted to attempt that goal. I completely forgot about it. But honestly, with the summer camp, I could have done it. It was just like my lazy ass.
I mean, you always can, but you did have a lot to do this summer.
I did. But I even read, I think I read 2 full books over the summer.
That's good. Better than me.
I think.
Also, the book that you're reading right now, you should mention the length.
Yeah, I will.
No, but the length of it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's called The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood, which our teacher mentioned yesterday in class and it made me really happy. But then I remembered the book I'm reading because I love her. I watched her masterclass on writing, and I loved it. I fell in love with her. Like, she's such a cutie grandma.
Oh yeah, how many masterclasses did you do over this summer?
Don't even start. But we really have to start again because our thing expires in November or December.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So we really need to start. We need to do at least 2 before it finishes.
To get our money's worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I kind of want to buy it again, but it just sucks how, like, I didn't do little. I think I watched like 3 masterclasses. But still,
but only 3. I watched 3, and I when I think about the plans that I had when I bought it, I don't know. We'll see. But it is cool.
It's just why
is
life so crazy? I mean, I love it, but at the same time, it's really difficult because, like, even though these are fun things, you still have to, quote unquote, force yourself to do them and include them in your routine. Yeah. Like, everything I'm working on right now, like reading, editing the Barcelona vlog, wanting to edit a couple of reels, like, all of these are things I enjoy and are fun. But you still have to, like, think about doing them and, like, implement it into your either routine or the day, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I just hate it. I think it's because today we have so many options, which, again, I love, and I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, it's so difficult because you're like, what am I going to do? Like, I want to do everything.
It gets overwhelming, and then you end up doing none of them, basically.
Yeah. But back to the book. So I'm reading The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood, and I think I started like mid-summer, maybe even a little bit earlier, to be honest. And I got this book for Christmas from my dad, and that was my wish. Like, I wanted a book from her, but I was like, okay, well, I know what I will get, but at least surprise me with what book I will get. Because, to be honest, I didn't want to start with what is it called? They made a series out of it. Do you know what I mean? The
Handmaid's Tale.
Yes. I didn't want to start with that because it was such a boom, like, with the series, and I guess even with the book, that I just didn't want to start with like a big thing like this, I guess. Yeah. And this book, I think it's from 1994 or something. Okay. So it's quite old. And I am really confused about this book. Like, I don't know what's going on. It has like 600 pages. And I think I'm past half of it.
Yeah, you are.
But I really have to force myself to read like the whole summer. And I try to force myself to finish it before I leave so I don't have to bring this big book with me. But in the end, I didn't. And in the end, I did bring it because I was like, I can't leave this at home because I don't want to have to read it like again from the beginning, not having finished it.
Yeah.
And so I just brought it and I'm attempting to finish it because I just, I was thinking about it yesterday. I think why I can't put a book down, not finished, is because of the person I am. Like, I can't leave things unfinished.
That's true.
And I just, and also, like, I have faith in this author. Like, and I would even feel bad for not finishing it. And I know people say, like, life is short. Like, you shouldn't, be doing things you don't enjoy doing, or like, you shouldn't be forcing yourself to read a book.
It never even crosses my mind that I could stop reading the book.
No, I can't. And like now that I've been forcing myself into doing it for so long, I'm like, I just need to finish it.
Yeah.
And maybe at the end, I will see the point or I will learn something from my writing, because that was also one of my goals, like why I should read it. But now it's more enjoyable. It's just like you said, it's not captivating. Like, I miss the feeling of being completely immersed in this story
and wanting to do nothing else but read that book.
Exactly.
Like, I need that.
So I'll finish this book and then I'll find something to read that will be amazing, hopefully.
Yeah. And then I didn't read books, but I did watch documentaries.
What did you watch?
2 really good ones, because I love documentaries. And one is called One Child Nation by, I can't read my writing. Nafu Wang. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And it's basically about the one-child policy in China and how it impacted the people living there at the time and how they look back at it now. And also the whole international adoption that came from it, and how it's like still impacting people's lives now, and especially the kids who were adopted internationally and the families they were adopted into. And it's really interesting. It's also a little bit autobiographical because she's from China originally, and she goes back. She talks about how she experienced it growing up and how she talks to her immediate family members, basically. So it's really interesting. And then the other one's called Generation Wealth, and it's by Lauren Greenfield. And that one's like a whole big project. I think it's a documentary, but she also released it as like the photos that are connected to the documentary as a museum exhibition. And she started making it in 2008, finished it in 2000, or released it in 2017. And it's basically about people's obsession with like wealth, status, materialistic things, and how it consumes you and how you always want more and more and more and more. And she basically follows the same, 10 people throughout like this time span of 10 years. And it's also a little bit autobiographical. Like, she takes what she learns from these people and kind of reflects it back on her own life, and sees that even though like she might not be, obsessed with money and be a billionaire, millionaire, she still has her own obsessions. Like, for her specifically, it's about work. So she kind of reflects back on her life. So it's super interesting. And yeah, those 2 I would recommend.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I watched a lot of things over the summer. I went to see Barbie, which was great. Yeah. I did see a couple of things at the movies festival. The first one I was volunteering at, and then the second one when I was doing my internship. And that was great because I think I would have never seen these movies if I weren't at these 2 movie festivals. So I really enjoy that. Most of them were Czech, so it's not probably worth mentioning.
Oh.
I don't even know what it would be called in English.
They only exist in Czech.
I don't know. They're new.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't even remember the names now. Yeah. And I don't think I'm really watching anything interesting worth mentioning now. I'm watching the Ultimatum, the queer version. Did we watch the Ultimatum together? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
And now there's a queer version, and then I think a new season of the not queer one is coming out. The thing is, I feel like there's just a lot of things coming out now, and I guess they do it a lot. Like after summer, they release a lot of stuff, and then before summer, they release a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to catch up with everything now.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Now let's do the song of the week. What is your song?
I don't have a song, but I have. I can give you a song, but I have 2 albums, which is the new Maisie Peters album, which is called The Good Witch. I can give you a song. I love all the songs on there. I would say maybe History of Man, like that one. And then also Olivia Rodrigo's new album called
I still haven't listened to that.
You need to. It's really good. I was not expecting it, but love it. So those 2.
Okay. My song is Entertaining Your Ghost by Alex Coles, which I've also been waiting for some time because he showed up on my Instagram or whatever. And I already know one of his songs. And this one is so good. I swear. Like it puts you into such a good mood, like where you even want to dance, you know? And it's really fun. And we are not going to do the quote unquote, what is it called? Competition anymore.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't enjoy doing the punishment, whatever we called it.
We ran out of ideas. It
was just to do it. So we are going to keep mentioning songs or like music recommendations just so if you want something new, you can. Like and we love sharing it.
Yeah.
I do. So we're just going to keep it that way. So have a great week. We're happy we're back. I missed recording.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to weekly episodes now.
So see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
If you want to get in touch, you can find all of our information in the description below.